Hello, everyone, and good evening, or good morning, or good afternoon, depending on what part of the world you're watching us from and when. So, welcome. We are here for another WikiTree Challenge reveal. And for the month of August, we have our special guest, Elizabeth Sweeney O'Neill. How are you, Elizabeth?
I'm doing good. We're actually getting a little summer out here finally.
Are you?
It got into the 70s today.
Has it been cool?
Really a hot one.
It's been so nice and cold here.
Yeah, well, we've had a heat wave in my little part of Ontario for a while, but it's cooled down. This morning it's cooled down a bit, and we've actually got some rain. It's been totally dry. Yeah, but anyways, and also joining from Ontario is Catherine Lake Hogan.
Hello, hello. Yeah.
You're captain this week. How are you, Catherine?
I'm well, thank you.
Excellent. Yes.
Happy to be here.
Yeah, she did great marshaling the troops and doing lots of work on your CC7 on your tree, Elizabeth. So I hope you'll be pleased by that.
I can't wait.
We also have Celia. Celia Marsh is here. How are you, Celia?
Good.
Good. Celia is officially the challenge assistant, the WikiTree challenge assistant. She helps assist in lots of different ways. She helps Azure out on many things, especially she's usually responsible for picking the bounty, where the bounty point's going to come from. So that's always very cool. And Jim is joined us. Jim was one of the WikiTreeers who worked on your tree, Elizabeth. So he's with us as well. So there we are. So that's who everyone is here. And if you're joining us for the first time and you're wondering what are we talking about, let me just share my screen and give you a little bit of context. So we are we're talking about the WikiTree Challenge. And so the WikiTree Challenge is where is it here? The WikiTree Challenge is an event that we do once a month. Where we pick someone, usually a genealogy rock star. That's what you are, Elizabeth.
I don't know about that, but
and we work on adding more branches to her tree or to their tree. And so one of the measurement that we use, we call that the CC7, which stands for connections. The connection counts at 7. So people who are 1 degree are your immediate family. So your parents, your siblings, your children, your spouse, those are all 1 degree connections. And then 2 degrees would be people who are 1 degree away from those people. So your parents' parents, or your parents' siblings, or your spouse's parents, and so on and so on. And because it goes through marriages as well, then when you go out 7 degrees, not all of those people are going to be related like biological cousins. There'll be in-laws in there, and there'll be in-laws of in-laws of in-laws, and so on. So what's really neat about that is that then through all of the research we're going broad, and so we can go lots of different directions. Some people do go straight back or as far back as possible. So there'll be profiles that you'll see that have been added that are in the 1800s and maybe some in the 1700s. I didn't actually check for the dates, but there'll definitely be some from the 1800s for sure. But there'll be others that'll be in the early 1900s and will be going laterally. So it's an interesting route. So who do we have today? So today we have Elizabeth. So for those who don't know Elizabeth, let me introduce Elizabeth. Elizabeth is a professional genealogist, a writer, an educator, national genealogical speaker. Her specialties include methodology, technology, and online research resources. Since 1987, Elizabeth has made it her goal to research, share, and preserve her family stories. She's the author of the family history lifestyle website, Heart of the Family, where her mission is to help others make the past part of their present. It's great. So that is a brief intro. And let me see, where do we want to go from here? I'm just looking through my notes here. So let's start with looking at the scoreboard here.
All right.
We'll just dive right in. So here's the scoreboard here. So we had altogether we had 28 people take part working on various aspects of your tree. And you can see the total number here is the number of profiles. So the total number of profiles that people added. Doug Tabor was the MVP this week. He added 223 profiles.
Wow.
That's a lot of work.
Yeah.
And then Fran added an even 100. I'm wondering if she stopped at 100 because it was such a perfect number.
I like how Amanda got almost the same number of. She should have done one more to have the same number of bonuses and.
Oh yeah, look at that. That's right.
So close, Amanda.
So close, Amanda. Is Amanda here live in the chat?
She is in the chat, yes.
Yeah.
Excellent. There we go. And then so Chris O'Connell and Fjord Lisi, Guillaume Albacini, Richie Rosenberger, Carolyn Hart, Jim Peckett, who's joining us live here. He was number 9 on the list with 36 profiles. Azure and Azure round up the top 10. But everyone worked hard on it, and some added, you can see those added lots of profiles. Other people did other stuff. There's lots of edits. You can see altogether we had over 1,341 profiles were edited throughout the contest, and the total number of edits altogether were 4,074. So that's a lot of work that was done. So some of the WikiTreeers really enjoy working on profiles or working on biographies. Others don't like the biography. They'll do the research. They'll find the sources, and then others will like to write up the bios. And some people have different research specialties that they like to focus in on. The next column, they're the bounty points. Celia, why don't you describe how the bounties work?
All right. So the 10-point, let's see if I remember correctly, the 10-point bounties are notable finds. So we'll talk about some of those later. The 15-point bounties are the first reconnections on each of the lines to the main tree. So you're connected to the main tree, but then people went down the family trees for each of the great grandparents. Yeah, the 8, and connected to the tree in new ways there. And then there was 25 points each for the brick walls, which are profiles that I pick who have no parents, but parents exist in the universe for them somewhere. So,
and I'll just add the ones that Celia picked were hard.
I've been doing.
They were hard.
Like last time, I gave them profiles, and they were all done by like 3 hours later. So I was like, that is not happening this time. Also, I was very lucky.
I didn't successful in that.
I didn't leave easy brick walls.
Well, yours.
Surprised.
I think a couple of yours were actually part of the brick walls. Some of those didn't get solved, but I was also very lucky in that there were a lot of different countries this time. So we got some adventuresome brick walls.
Mm-hmm. So did Amanda get 3 brick walls? Is that her 75 points?
I think so. I know she at least got 2. I guess she could have gotten 2 brick walls and a interesting find and a reconnection. There's always to do. She did.
She said she did. Ones. She got 3 easy ones. I don't know if there's such a thing.
I would do the 3 easy ones too.
Yeah, for sure. Great. So thank you for explaining that, Celia. That's great. The other thing that's really neat is that we look at the distance that people are from you. So one of the things about WikiTree is because it's one global world tree, we can see how people are connected to each other. And for example, we can look. There's a whole category where one of the things you can do on WikiTree with a profile is you can add a category to it. It's sort of like a tag, right? If you're used to using tags for organizing your work. So we add categories, and one of the categories is for WikiTree Challenge guest stars, like yourself, Elizabeth. So here's a list of all the people who have been guest stars in the past, and you can see many of them are active WikiTreeers with that nice bright yellow. Catherine Lake Hogan is one of them, and she, herself, where I just saw your name, and now it's disappeared.
I didn't even know about this category.
You
We
don't?
don't-
No, this is news for me too.
Is this news?
Yeah,
Oh,
I
come
didn't know
on.
about this. I'm kind of like, cool. Okay, how come I'm
I'm
not on
pretty
there?
sure are you not here?
I don't see my name.
Oh,
Well, you could be here.
I thought you were. Well, we'll have to add you. Okay.
All right.
Oh, it's another cat. Oh, it was another
No,
cat.
that's
I saw the
Catherine.
cat. I was
That's
scrolling
Catherine
so
Wilson.
fast. I saw.
That's Catherine Wilson. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. We'll have to add you. Add
That'd be
you.
good.
Okay. But of course, I've already look. How are we doing? See, 12 minutes in, I'm already distracted.
Well, it was a lot faster than 12 minutes, Greg. Let's be fair.
We got to keep them on track.
Okay. So one of the things we can do when you're visiting a category is you can click on the button here that says My Connections, and when you do that, it'll give you it'll take that list and show which of those people are actually either direct ancestors or cousins to you. And so all of these people are cousins because I've logged in as myself to me, and then the rest that are under connections are people who are not cousins. But they're related through, they'd be connected through marriage, which is not not very exciting for you, I'm afraid, Elizabeth. But what we can do is, I know that, but what we can put in is your WikiTree ID.
We're all excited about you.
Swan A1. Woo!
Okay. And can you just, how do you properly pronounce your
Swan A.
Swan A? Okay. I don't think I
Just like
pronounced
it
that
looks. Check that out.
right. What's that?
Just like it looks.
Just like it looks, Swan A.
Swan
Yeah.
A.
So if I put in Swan A and hit go, then it's going to recalculate, and here are your cousins. So M. Taylor.
If you click on the generations thing there, it should show you. Or yeah, the one in the middle shows the relationship.
Yeah. Okay. So M. Taylor.
Is that
You're
Maureen
7 cousins
Taylor?
once removed. Who's M. Taylor?
Is that Maureen Taylor, the photo
Yes.
detective?
I think so. I
Oh,
think that's it. Yeah.
Cool.
And Gina.
Claire
Claire.
Breeson.
Mm-hmm.
8 cousins.
Okay.
So there we go. So you can check your 22 away from Roberta Estes. So that's probably, would that be 11th cousin or something like that? And then there's a bunch here that are you're connected to, but not. So for example, let's go Daniel Horowitz.
Daniel.
So you can look, see, there's your connection. And when it changes from the light green to the light yellow, that means it's going through a marriage. So one of the things I like to use the generational path, and so that shows you one of your grandfather's sister's husbands, and then you go across and you see. Remember I talked about in-laws of in-laws?
Hey, I'll take it. Now I can call Daniel cousin, and I want
Yes, that's right. Cousin-in-law,
Cousin-in-law. Yeah, there you go.
So that's
Very
one.
cool.
That's kind of one of the neat things. But so related to that, we when we start a challenge, we calculate how we're connected to you, how many degrees away we are, and most people are related just like you were to Daniel through various in-laws and in-laws, right? Not a lot of us were direct cousins to you, but after at the end of the week, some of us have moved up in the world. And in fact, so if you look, Candy
Yes.
Hawkins is the first one on the list, and she has gone from being 38 degrees away from you to only 32 degrees. But there were some real winners.
You were nicely connected all the way back, so that's why you've got so many common ancestor ones, because
there's
some
a lot
number
of
generations back.
Yeah.
But then there was also, as we scroll down,
Mm-hmm.
some impressive reconnections, I believe, courtesy of Catherine. And
Yes.
some others.
Yeah. So there are where are we here? Just looking at my notes here. Where did I put that? Oh, there it is. So the biggest there, two people are actually now at 30. They moved up 33 degrees closer. So I actually went from being 50 steps away to only 19 steps. I moved 31 degrees closer.
Wow.
Yeah. And we actually.
I was to blame for that.
Thank you. Well, I mean, I say thank you.
Sorry.
Elizabeth will
Aaron
say,
Aaron and I were to blame
Yes.
for that. We made a connection, a significant connection to the global tree, and then Greg and somebody else, their numbers just went boom, drop,
Yeah.
and everybody was kind of like freaking out, but like in a good way, because that just means that many more degrees closely related to you.
That's right. So we're eighth cousins, once removed,
Cool.
Elizabeth.
All right.
So you can see the path. I go through my French Canadian mother, and you go through the Daigle side up to the Giboulot. Yeah. So there's actually two people who got even closer, 33 degrees closer. That was Sharon Davidson and Colleen McNamara. And then when you look at all of them, so some of them, I think there are four people who actually are 17 degrees. So that's pretty close, steps away. So that was some really impressive.
Is there somewhere I can look at this later?
Yep.
Yes. So all this score sheet and all of the stuff that we put together, we used a where's the
space page?
The space page. Yeah. The space page is, there we go. Do I have that one open? It's here somewhere. The space page has all the notes and all the interesting finds and all that sort of stuff that we're going to be talking about. So we will send you Azure will send you all the links to that and all the files that we share and images and stuff. So you'll have all of that.
Okay, thank you.
Afterwards. So you don't have to make notes now.
Okay. I'm not. I'm just sitting here going, what are the Gibelots? So somebody explain.
Yeah. One thing I didn't even mention, the CC7, the score that we were talking about. So before it began, it was 914, and I can actually pull up an image of what that looks like. So yeah, your score before we began was 914, and I'm just gonna see if I can zoom in on this a little bit. Oopsie. One of the apps that's available. Ooh, no, that's a little too much.
Coming at me.
One of the apps that's available on WikiTree. We have lots of apps that can help you visualize your tree and your connections and whatnot. Some of them are more traditional pedigree style, or a fan chart, for example. This is one that I've created so that I created it just basically to give you a quick visual sort of overview or snapshot of how people are connected to you in the CC7. So every ring, as you go out, is the next degree. The inner ring has all these different multicolors because the different colors represent the different types of first degree relationships. And then the orange ring is degree 2, and then the cyan is degree 3, and that sort of thing. So this is what the ring looked like beforehand. Then afterwards, it exploded to over 2,000. At the end of the challenge, you actually had your score was 2,492, and today it's actually 2,628. So people kept working. So you almost 200 more than you had before.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Yeah, that's impressive.
that's quite
Just to give you an idea, mine's at 1,500 after they did my challenge, right? My number was very low and it got up to 1,500 and I was thrilled with that.
Yeah.
And then when we started working on your week, we got up to 1,500 quickly. Then we did like 2,000. And then we saw you inching closer to that 2,500 mark. And I'll tell you, I'm a little jelly, right? Like they did amazing work to get your number from, below 1,000 up to 2,600. That's like awesome work on the team. They did a fabulous job.
They did. It was fantastic.
And you can see if you look on the thing, I think where the real benefit from this came is if you look at the original scores. Okay. You'll see, scroll down to the bottom. Okay. And the bottom has that number, that's 764. That's how many profiles were actually added. Ah. The one at the top, so that many profiles were added and they looped in another couple thousand. I can't do math in my head, Matt. Or,
1,700. Not the 1,700 and change.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, it was starting a little. So about 600, I guess. 600 new profiles got linked in with the 700 that we were creating. So the benefit of this is that so many people that you're related to were already on the tree that we just had to go out and find them. One of the reasons why we blasted through some of those bounty things were because people would be like, oh, I found, not only did I find their parents, they were already on the tree and I just added them and their grandparents. And I was like, okay, fine. Getting a lot harder next time. Just you wait on that.
You take it as a personal challenge, don't you? Yeah. Oh, that's funny. So I've shown you those two visuals to give you sort of the bigger picture. Some of the other stuff that we do is here's a map of the world, and all of these dots represent profiles that were added. So this is part of the 764 profiles that were added during your week, and this is where they are all over the world. So you can see the majority, of course, were in, looks like the continental United States, but we also added people from parts of Europe. A couple up in Norway and one in Sweden, it looks like, or Poland, one in Germany, a little bit there. And here's what the concentration looks like in the States. What's really cool about this, when I prepared this map for you, is that you actually did hit all of, you got the continental US. Now I don't know if there's a dot in every single state, but you did get Alaska and Hawaii.
I see that.
So I think that's very cool.
Now we're not sure, that might be Puerto Rico or that might be lower Canada. We always have that problem.
Oh, this in the Dominican here?
Yeah, that area.
Yes, that's right. But it looks like this someone was added in Newfoundland.
Mm-hmm. That'll make my husband happy.
Oh, good.
Newfoundland.
Excellent. This red dot here is the generic dot for can. I don't know why it's located there, because that makes no sense. There's probably not even a person living in that barren spot there, right in the Northwest Territories.
That's just Canada. If you were born in Canada, that's
if you didn't put a city, province or anything, it goes there. Anyways, so that's sort of the distribution of the profiles that were added. And then what I decided to do is I took four of your great grandfathers and searched out their CC7, so 7 degrees from them, so that they would be a little different. If I just took all of your grandparents, if I took them a little degree closer, then it would be sort of a mishmash and they'd all look the same. there's at least a little bit of a difference in the distribution. So here's your great-grandfather Swanee.
Swanee.
I think I was saying it wrong all week to myself. Sorry if I
It's okay.
I'm sorry about that. And it's basically similar distribution as we saw the profiles that were added. But interesting, there are some in Africa.
I have no idea who that is.
I'm not sure.
Well, we'll give you the link to the WikiTree maps thing, so you can go and look. If this is live, you could click on them and pop up who they were.
And I can show you that in a sec. So let me just whip through these quickly. So then I zoomed in on the different. Okay, and now it's going to take. So there was lots in, especially in the eastern half of the states, and then along the west coast there, and then your great-grandfather Dunn, sort of similar but really solid in the U.S. there.
They've been here a long time.
Yeah. And then here we have your great-grandfather Daigle. And so here you can see now we've got more into the French background.
Yeah.
Because if we go back to great-grandfather Daigle and then go back 7 degrees from him, we're getting to the old country. And also in North America, you can see the roots in Quebec and also Southern Ontario there as well.
Vermont, I see a lot.
More Canadians there. And then on the McGraw side, sort of similar. Now, some of these will be, again, 7 degrees will be some of the holdover from the Daigles, the connections through there as well. But there's some Norway and Sweden as well. So if you like maps, which I do.
I do.
I think that's kind of cool.
Very much.
Good. So let me show you here. Where do I have WikiTree? There we go. So I just searched. Where was the one that we wanted to look at? Who had the Africa one?
I think it was McGraw. You could just add Africa to the end of that McGraw search.
Okay, then let me just do that. Okay, so one of the tools that we have available to us is called WikiTree Plus, which is basically it's a database that's running on a server, and it has access to the public WikiTree profiles. So you can query it and ask for specific details, including this query I have right here, asked for the list of all the profiles, and it'll only give me the public ones that are 7 degrees away from McGraw 529, which is your great-grandfather McGraw. And now if I put the word Africa afterwards, then it will reduce that list to only those that have Africa somewhere in one of their location fields. And that would not be that one.
All right.
I think it was it Daigle? Well, I can go back and look. Right?
Oh, Dunn. I think that was.
Was it Dunn?
I think so.
No, Dunn only had a couple.
There's someone in the ocean.
The one in the ocean is where people show up if they died at sea, I believe.
Well, maybe Swanee.
Oh, yeah, there we go.
We were making it much harder than we needed to.
Yeah, that's our brand.
Yeah. 189. Oh, and how come? Well, one person showed up.
Huh.
So let's check out Nola.
Might be a mistake. It might not be. These things are hard to say. Nope, that's a mistake.
Nola.
I mean, I know the Wampler. I've corresponded with someone in that family, and I don't think Tennessee is in South Africa.
So we get our locations from Family Search, and every once in a while, Family Search just has really strange locations. And I was trying to go through and clean up a lot of locations, but yeah, that's going to be a mistake from.
You think? Tennessee, U.S. Okay.
Yeah, perhaps.
Why don't we do the whole?
Maybe a
whole
missionary
family.
families.
Missionary family, yeah. Okay.
I do find it useful. The one thing the map does end up being very useful for is you pull it up and then you go, let's click on the person. Oh no, let's fix that person's address. And
that's right. Yeah.
go on to the next.
Okay, so I got rid of the Africa. So here is the list. There's 5,537 profiles that are 7 degrees away from your great grandfather's swan egg. And if I click on this map, then that'll generate the map that you just saw. And now that it's live, once it opens up, you can zoom in, of course, like we did. And I'm waiting for it to. Well, maybe it's not going to. Maybe because I've got zoomed in so much, that's how big it thinks I want it to be. You can click on any one of these dots. So if I click on this dot here, which is I think Hawaii.
Maybe they got married in Hawaii.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Let's open her. Let's show her on WikiTree. See what happens.
It's a little bit exciting sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
All
She
right.
doesn't have a spouse, so it wasn't that.
No.
Or maybe. No, it's definitely that's the one that wants to.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's check out Newfoundland. Let's see if that.
There you go.
Oh, Saint Jean Baptiste, Canada.
Oui.
Okay.
That's
So-
on the Swan A side?
It's
This-
within 7 degrees.
Within 7
Within
degrees.
7 degrees. Yeah.
So if we go check out Raoul,
I think you'd be like 3 degrees from him. And so
he was born in
4
1864.
degrees out from you.
Mm-hmm.
We can check if you're on anyone's profile. You can underneath their name, you can go to the connection to me. Now, by default, it'll give the connection to the person who's logged in, and this person is actually a relative because it's all one color.
There you go. They're related to you
Hey, my
guys.
cousin,
There you go.
my fifth cousin, 4 times
Close
removed.
cousin at that.
Oh, good old Joseph Raoul. There you go. But we want to.
Sounds like Greg found some stuff on
Yeah.
too.
Right?
I gotta tell you,
Reveals
if
are always
there's French
so
Canadian
exciting
in
for
your,
Greg.
I'm in there like a dirty shirt. There we go. So you're 7 degrees from Raoul.
Private
Through the
person.
Blanche
That would
Charles.
be my dad.
Mm-hmm. Now we could see if there's a link. Let's see if there is a connection through a common ancestor. And let's see if we can find there is. Yeah, he's also related to. So 7 degrees is the shortest route,
Mm-hmm.
but he is actually a cousin. So he's probably the same distance as to you as well. So, okay. So that's kind of fun. So you can investigate to, let's see, Cherokee Nation Indian Territory. Again, probably a mistake there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. My aunt swore that we had Cherokee ancestry.
Oh, here's
No.
Namibia.
No, that
Namibia.
part's correct. It's just the fact that it's showing up. Yeah, you know what? We got something weird going on with the map because I'm going to believe
think
it's actually
so.
in Illinois and not in Namibia.
Right? I think so.
Makes more sense.
Oh, see, I went straight to the Namibia. I didn't even notice that it said Illinois on the other side. Okay, there we go. So this whole folder in Google Drive, you'll have access to that. So I have access to all the different maps we created. And one of the things we also do during the week is we ask our researchers if they found anything interesting. And so I'm going to ask Catherine if she wants to talk about some of the interesting finds.
You bet. All right. So can you pull up the profile for me, Greg, of Alexander Lafleur?
Alexander. Oh, yes, I can. And because let's see.
All of these details will be on this.
Yeah.
This is the challenge.
Yeah.
No, you want Marie or?
You can start there. Yeah, you can start with Maurice. Yeah, Marie Maurice. Okay, and then if you go to
Father?
him, yeah,
Okay.
Alexi. Okay, so one of the questions that you had at the beginning of all this, Elizabeth, was you wanted to know if Alexander Lafleur, you thought the Lafleur was a D name, and it is. Okay, so the original family name, I found it in the baptism record, and so he was baptized as Alexis Gibelot. And then if you go back one more generation to his father, okay, you can see there's a name change.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and so he was baptized as Alexis Gipolo. Okay, so that's how you're seeing. And I think if you go back one more, which I didn't go back, but this line goes back to France. Okay, so the original family name was Gipolo or Gipolo, however you want to pronounce it. And there's all sorts of, you can imagine the spellings for this name in the indexes. Okay.
Sure.
But that is the original family name is Gipolo.
I kind of was starting to make that connection in David Ouimet's SLIG class, but I kept thinking, no, that can't be right. I must be wrong. And so seeing that name, it's like, I guess I was right.
You were right.
I thought I had wandered onto the wrong path there.
No, one of the records, I can't remember what it's either Alexander's baptism record or his marriage. I can't remember which one. I think it might be the baptism, but it actually says Alexis Gibelot de Lafleur. Okay, so the name is like right there in the baptism. Right. Primary source document gives the name. Like you can't ask for anything better than that, right?
Yeah. And now, was he a soldier? Because I was told all the flowers were soldiers.
They were. Now here's you know what happens, right? Is I saw something on Ancestry and then I got distracted and then I went back to try and find it and I could not find it. I'm pretty sure he was in the militia in Canada somewhere. So you're gonna have to do some digging, but I'm pretty sure he served, either him or his father served in the local militia when they were in Quebec before they moved to South Dakota.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was the one exciting thing that I wanted to share with you, because I know that was a biggie for you.
That was.
So
thank you for confirming that I was not on the wrong path.
No, you weren't on the wrong path. And so when we got into his wife, I believe, Aaron and I, we each kind of separately, but almost at the same time, got you connected in two ways to the global tree. And then your tree just kind of went, right? Because we having that big connection to all the French Canadians, that really made your CC number grow. And then it really made those people who were distantly connected to you that much closer. So Greg was an example, like his connection to you dropped 31 degrees because of that. Right. So that was an exciting find for us as researchers to be able to do that. Okay. So now we are going to jump on over and we're going to hit up for number 2, William H. Swatzel. And this was interesting, sad, but interesting. So he was held a prisoner of war as a Union soldier during the Civil War. And he left a wife and 9 children because he died of scurvy. He died of scurvy while he was imprisoned. And one of his sons died of disease the day before he died, also while serving as a soldier there. Okay. We got a couple. We got a Winnie Bell was mentioned as one of the defendants in a court case against John F. Swanee et al. In a newspaper in Greenville, Tennessee. So that's going to make for some interesting reading there. Okay, so number 4, we're going to just kind of skip over because it involves a tragedy and involves suicide. So you can go and you can look at that yourself. It's very sad. It's a sad one. But we felt that was important to put it in the interesting finds, and then you can go and look at that one yourself. Okay, number 5, we had 2 brothers who married 2 sisters, and that's always fun.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So John,
they married who was there, so the
right?
Bab sisters must have been hot,
right? So John and Philip married Anna and Sarah.
There we go.
but then Anna died, and he married somebody else.
Right?
That's right.
Okay.
Greg has a fantastic app for demonstrating.
Yeah. So this is another app that I've created actually. It's called the SuperTree. And I've just taken a screenshot out of this because you can use this app to basically you can build a tree in any dimensions going up or down or across. So here is the 2 brothers, John Dunn and Philip Dunn. Both have married Babs, Anna Bab and Sarah Bab, and you can see I've shown their parents. It's the same set of parents. But there, you're right. And then he married a Swatzel. So there's the Swatzel connection. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And and there was a third.
Want to show her how to find the SuperTree, Greg?
I can do that. There is your profile. So from your profile, this little icon along the button bar there is for tree apps. And when you click on that, it'll open up. And it'll open up the most recent app that you use. So this SuperTree was the one I used most recently. And so it starts off by just showing the primary person. So that would be you and your parents and grandparents. Two generations of ancestors, 1 generation of descendants. But you can add more. There's a third generation. You can go sideways. You can add aunts and uncles. And we could go deeper and load the cousins. See, that's kind of wild. Visual effect there.
They had a lot of kids.
There's a lot of kids. You got a lot of cousins there.
I know. And I don't know any of them.
And then you go back 7 generations of ancestors, theoretically down 7 generations of descendants, and up to 3rd cousins in the branches. So, but I clicked on this in-laws, and if you have in-laws, they will pop up, and there must be in-laws here somewhere. Where did the in-laws go? Or did it just make room for the in-laws, but we don't have any in-laws tree here? Oh well. But that's the SuperTree. The other one, the fan chart, is a fan favorite.
Greg does this so he can show off all his apps. That's why he presents these things.
So there's your fan chart.
Oh, looks good. It's got all filled in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we can go up to, it can go up to 10 generations. So you've got a solid at 6. And where do we start? 7th generation. We still have
7. She's missing. Well, give me something to work on.
Yeah, exactly. That's right.
Something to aspire to, right?
Do all the work. Something to aspire to. There you go. Anyways, there's lots of different apps here you can investigate.
I'm looking here.
And they keep getting added to. It's almost October, so
yeah,
we'll have to see what new stuff shows up this year.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
All right, so carry on with interesting finds. So we have DeWitt Talmadge Starnes, and I'd say he's probably the most notable guy, occupation, profession-wise, on your family tree. So he was a professor emeritus of English at the University of Texas in Austin. He served as professor at Rice University. He was highly educated. He was the valedictorian of his class at Westland Academy in Knoxville, Tennessee. He received his undergraduate degree from the University of Tennessee, Chattanooga, and his PhD at the University of Chicago. And he also published several books. Okay, we have 2 kind of sad accident. So number 7 notable interesting find. Sorry, number 7 interesting find. Number 9 interesting find. So at number 7 we have Robert N. Mullis, and he had a fatal accident while working at his father's mill, and he died at 14 years old.
Aw.
That's sad.
And then when we jump down,
he was born in 1900 and so passed away in 1914. I remember that was
okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then the other one was Henry Joseph Daigle, and he died of a bee sting at 49 years of age. It stung him on the wrist in a basement, but it was not at his own home.
Was that on? That must have been on the death record, eh? That detail about the location.
It must, yeah. I would imagine it was. I haven't looked. Probably.
Yes.
I'm thinking. Well, I don't know where else they would have gotten all that detail from.
There's
or
a
it could have been a newspaper.
article. There's a news article about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, and then we have on Andrew Fave.
Oh yes.
He was a tailor in Sioux City, so this is a little bit interesting here. But he also had a drinking habit, and occasionally he went out on drinking bouts, binges, during which he was incapacitated for up to a week. So on February 6, 1899, he was headed to various local saloons with a friend to drink into the evening. But it was a very cold night, of course, being winter. And when a policeman noticed Andrew and his friend drunken in the street, he warned them to go home. His friend went home, but Andrew spent the night outdoors. When he was discovered the next morning, he had frostbite in his fingers and toes. The doctor amputated most of his hands and part of his feet. And following this tragic event, his wife, Louise, brought a lawsuit against the saloon keepers who had sold him alcohol the night he was injured.
Wow.
Yeah, this was pre-prohibition, and a law had recently. I have this book on my shelf.
You got this book?
Yep, it's a textbook about drunks and the women who love them.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
look at that photo.
A law
That's
had
amazing.
recently been passed that if the wife went around to the different saloon keepers and said, "You cannot serve my husband anymore," and they did it anyway, then she was entitled to bring suit. And Louise was the first one to test this law, and it went all the way up to the state Supreme Court, and it made news headlines all over.
Wow.
So yeah, this is not something that my family has ever talked about.
Oh really?
Oh no, nobody knew this story.
Yeah.
Story. Come on.
This I found this on Google Books. I actually talk about this in one of my lectures on just a random search. I'm typing in names, la 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 la, and I'm going, oh, this can't possibly be related to me.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
There he is.
And I've been trying to get the court case from the state of Iowa, but they said the book is too fragile and I have to come there and get it myself. So
research trip.
Yeah.
I know, research trip. Yeah. So yeah, this is one of the more infamous stories in my family. So
That's interesting.
All right. And then our last interesting find was for Margaret Letitia McCoy Davis, and she lived to be 101.
Good for her.
Did you know Margaret?
I did not.
You did not. Let's see, how are you related to Margaret? Not to me. No, we'll switch.
You didn't actually type it the whole thing.
I didn't type it in.
Hello.
Didn't type it in correctly. There we go.
There we go.
6 degrees. Okay.
Huh.
Your grandmother's husband's sister's mother's.
That side of the family has some good longevity, so I'm hoping I inherited some of those genes.
Yeah. Yeah. There we go.
Good for her.
Great. So we also keep track of military profiles, and so we ask the WikiTree as they're doing the research if they find someone who has fought in one of the wars to add them to the list here. So we had 3 that were identified from the Revolutionary War: Burwell Blanton, was a private, and Colonel John Earl was in the North Carolina militia. William Hughes was a private as well. And Leroy Taylor also served as a captain in the North Carolina militia. In the Napoleonic Wars, we have one person who was in the 29th Infantry Regiment of the French Army, so that's kind of neat.
Did not know that one.
We haven't.
Yeah, that's not a common.
That's not one that we see very often. From the Napoleonic Wars.
That's news to me.
The War of 1812, the John Dodd enlisted in 1814. Amanda, who's in the chat with us online.
Amanda was pretty excited because this was her first military profiles in American things, I believe.
Very cool. Didn't find anyone in the Mexican-American War, but in the U.S. Civil War, we have 6 listed. Swatzels, Timothy Grogan, who's a powder boy. Oh, there's, yes, the one who died of scurvy. And that would be his son, probably, who died the day before, right?
Yeah.
A Dunn, Sergeant Samuel Marion Dunn was a sergeant in the Union Army. Andrew Johnson Hall was in the Union Army. Samuel Josephus Stroud, also in the Union Army there. 2 from World War I, including DeWitt, who was the scholar. And Cecil Glenn Swatzel again, family. The Dunn family also served in World War II, Glenn Gillespie. So
I'm thinking in my head that I have quite a few more I could be adding to.
I suspect that there are,
Yeah.
There is probably lots more. Sometimes people are often focused on, getting profiles in or adding pieces of the biography and not always remembering to go back or add the stickers and do that. So I suspect there's lots more as well that we just haven't indicated all of them there. The other thing, when you get this list and this link, you can check out all the different cemeteries that we visited while we're doing your research. Many of them I suspect you're already familiar with, but some might be new to you. Wow, 32 different ones. We didn't identify any name studies or place studies this time. Is that
well?
right?
You know what? It actually kind of messed one up.
oh, you messed one up.
Because I can't remember who it was. It was one of the wives, probably in the Gipolo line or the Dago line. Her surname was what was it? Moran, but it's actually Morin. It's one or the other. I can't remember. And there's no actual name study for that, for the correct surname. So you actually lost a name study because of that one.
Do I need to start one?
We have the correct last name at birth. So
that's good. Okay. Yeah. So there we go. And then there's the list of the brick walls that we were talking about.
I forgot to put them in there.
Yeah.
So I know one of the other questions that you had, Elizabeth, was about the spelling of the Daigle surname, and you wanted to know if it originally was the letter I was in the original surname. And yes, when you get back to Quebec, it's definitely there's an I in the surname. So it seems like when they moved to South Dakota, for whatever reason, they dropped the letter I.
Yeah, Mom always swore there was an I in there, and I could never
when
find
you
it.
get back to Quebec, it's
and Jim actually, Jim French here.
Yeah, the French pronunciation.
A lot of the work on the Dago. So go ahead.
Did
the French pronunciation of Morin? It's Morin, and when you go to the States, it's Moran. Yeah, so but everyone in your family has their name butchered when they came to the States. That happens, not just in the States. If they move to Ontario or somewhere else, it's people write down what they hear.
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah. So did you want to talk about the Daigle, the line that you researched a bit, Jim, or you had mentioned a few things just before we went live?
Yeah, I didn't do any preparation at all this time. I just dove in, and the first name I recognized or caught my eye was Daigle, and I started slowly, and it things kept falling together. In fact, I did a little more research today and found out there are actually hundreds of people that could have been added. But the next time I'll look a little more ahead of time and collaborate more with others. I didn't think there would be more than I could handle myself. But if you can assemble a few cousins and dive into the Daigle family and their in-laws or the people they married, you could add hundreds more people. And
well, I was kind of nervous about, I mean, that's why I took the SLIG class in French Canadian research, is because I had not gotten these people really out of the United States. And I was a little nervous about doing it because I didn't know anything about research in that part of the world. So
if you take note, there's a Facebook group called Quebec Genealogy. And
I think I'm in that one, but
many of their members also, they have memberships in the Drouin collection, which Ancestry has some of them, but there's probably 20 million. But with the Quebec Genealogy, they're more than happy to find something for you on from the Drouin collection. And if you have one that you really want to translate, other than the names of names and dates, if you want more details, because they're quite extensive. If there's been an adoption, they will give the birth reference and the adoptees and their parents.
My college French isn't always that great. So.
Right. And then reading the handwriting of the priest from way back can be a trick to itself.
Yeah. And the quality of them. That's if you're doing deep research, it's worth, you need somebody who's fluent in French, but you can subscribe directly to the Drouin collection now. It's not that expensive. I don't, because I don't have enough direct family in Quebec, and I would spend way too much time translating. And
well, it's nice.
Well, I know who to call on now.
Well, the French records, when you start getting into them, you'll recognize how they're laid out. There's a formula to them, and they're very consistent. And how they're laid out. It's always, the date is always first. So it'd be like, le 20 Novembre 1882, right? It's always very consistent with the dates. And there's formulaic speech in each of those records that the priests or the clerks were trained to put in. So once you get the hang of that, it's pretty easy to translate what's said, because it's the same pattern. Like your baptism records, it's the same layout from priest to priest, to church, whether it's in Quebec, whether it's in New Brunswick, whether it's in Ontario. If it's a Roman Catholic church, it's pretty much, the formula is pretty much the same. When you get to the handwriting, though, that gets a little bit tricky. And but I do find sometimes, people say, oh, throw that up into AI and have it researched. Well, you know what? I did that for one of your records just to see. And the problem is, artificial intelligence is only as good as the optical character recognition, right? And that's the thing. And so I asked it to go back through a couple of times, and then it just totally changed the date. And so, what was supposed to be like the 10th day of the month, it said, next thing you know, it's got the 20th day. And then because of the way the years were laid out, it couldn't read it. And so it's making up something.
Right? So it makes up stuff. And if you don't know enough, when you start, you don't know how to catch the mistakes.
Right. Yeah. So sometimes human eyes are actually better than AI.
Yeah,
human brains.
It's not there yet. Maybe
not right there, right?
Discord is excellent because you can just drop things in there, and somebody's got better eyes than you. It's a given. That's right. I don't know how it works, but somebody's always got better eyes out there,
right? I agree, Celia. Yeah,
that's okay, because every once in a while you get to be somebody else's better eyes. That's how it works.
Yeah.
And actually, if you take one marriage, one birth, and one death, and have somebody transcribe it in full and then translate it in full, you will have a template that'll cover 90% of the things you look up.
Yeah.
And if you find something that stumps you and it's repetitive, you see it like né la veille is born the day before. It's NEELAVEILLE. And you see that French Canadians, they're Catholics, it's customary to baptize the day of or the day after the birth.
As soon as possible.
Yeah. One of the interesting things I found with Daigle was their first son. There are a lot of claims that Marie La Riviere was born in Vermont. And I think maybe she was, or at least her family was living there by the time they were married, because their first son, Henry Joseph, I think it was born. He was baptized 4 months after he was born. So he could have been born in Vermont. And there are more claims for him being born in Vermont than the others. But I have added all 5 Drouin collection births and baptisms for them. So that 4-month gap where all of his siblings were born the day before the baptism is a pretty good sign that maybe they were in Vermont when they got married and had their first child. So.
Nice.
Do you happen to remember offhand where in France they came from?
Let's see.
Or I can just go look at the tree and see where.
I'm just looking here right now. So it looks like Cyprien d'Aigle. I'll just share my screen again. On the Daigle, so is it the Daigle or the Lafleurs that you're wondering about?
Any of them.
Okay, so the Daigle, it looks like we only have him as far back as Saint-Damas in Lower Canada, which is in Quebec. But I have a subscription, so I could check that out on PRDH. But that's
okay. I just wondered if
location. No, I'm looking at it here, like through the Gibelot line, and I'm not seeing anything directly for location in France, but New France. And you're going back, like some of these lines are into the 1760s. And
there we are.
Oh, you got one?
Gibelot goes Laurent.
Oh, there we go. All right. Good stuff.
Poitiers.
Laurent. 1661. Laurent Guienne.
Cool.
Okay. If I ever get to France, I want to know where to go.
That's right. Well, actually, you know what?
For sure.
I'm sharing my screen again, right? Because where is that? In this folder is the work that Emmanuel Jackson.
Oh, the Frenchman,
yeah. So here are, and you know what? I'm glad we talked about this, because I meant to show this to you earlier, but I totally forgot. But here is, so here's an example of the birth record of one of the people he found. Wow. Isn't that lovely handwriting? Marie-Joséphine Virginie, who was born, let's see, 27 ans.
All right, so you might not be able to translate these yourself, but you have them.
Yeah, we have them, but he actually did do what's in this one here. And here's a list. So this is from the census, right, in 1842. So there's the list.
Nice.
And he actually, if I go back to here, he put all the details together in an RTF, I believe, of all the things he found. He's done the translation, and here, let me just zoom in a bit more.
I owe this guy a bottle of wine or something.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Wow.
And it'd have to be good French wine.
Yeah. Huh.
Okay, so that record the record I showed you there, that's this woman right here, Marie-Joséphine Virginie.
Yeah.
That was her birth.
Wow.
27. Yeah, I saw Vincent, and so that's the age of her father. That's what I was reading there. Born on the 15th of May. Hommage is in the Haute-Saône district department, which is near the Swiss border. So there you go.
Cool.
So at least one part of your family comes from that part of France, from close to the Swiss border.
Yep,
yeah, he had done all this before even the kickoff.
I know. He was very keen. And I think I added one of these records to WikiTree that was not, but I think most of them, some people had already added them to the WikiTree. There was just one that I found that wasn't there yet, so I did add one. So that's my 1 point from the challenge. But there's some Fevres.
Yeah, I know. I don't know a lot about this side of the family. My grandfather, my mother's father, died when she was 9.
Okay.
So I obviously never met him, and she didn't get a lot of time with him. And they moved away from Iowa. They moved to the West Coast, and they didn't have a lot of contact with the family anymore. So a lot of this is, I mean, a lot of those names are familiar, but I haven't gotten them back as far. It took me forever to even nail down the Ridoti, however you say that.
Yeah,
that
Ridoti.
name. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm speechless.
Wow. Yay!
Yeah, good.
I really needed help with that side of the family. So thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Yeah.
We had a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun working on it.
Yeah, that's right. And I'm thinking the Deglas, I think I could take that further back too, because it's 1800. That's easy. Okay.
Well, she's got quite a few there in New France. So I'm sure if you work at it, you should be. Well, I'd be curious to see if you can find a connection to a fille de roi, so one of the king's daughters, or a fille mariée, because they came before the fille de roi. So depending on how far back you get, you might have some connections there too. A little bit of French Canadian bragging rights.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember doing that assignment in David's class, and I was like, I don't have anybody. So.
Well, it's our like Greg said, it's our equivalent in Canada and Quebec. It's our equivalent of the Mayflower, right?
Yeah,
the bragging rights, Yeah.
Well, I will keep looking now that you guys have set me on a path.
Well, you've got lots there to search through, right? So when you get back that far, your lines, like you've got some really well established roots in New France, which was the colony of New France before it was Quebec. So you'll have lots of fun. And like Jim said, the Juin collection is very helpful. You can get a subscription to Genealogy Quebec, and you can do that month to month. You don't have to take out an annual subscription for that. So if you get a weekend free.
Mom was still alive to know this. She would have been so excited.
Yeah. So you'll have lots of fun with this. Yeah. We had a blast working on it. We really did. It was a lot of fun.
French Canadians love to help. So they're very proud of their heritage, and they love.
And we're cousins. We're 8th cousins, so you can call me anytime.
I'll be hitting you up on that, Greg.
Okay. No problem.
And Jim, I've got notes here who I'm gonna be contacting.
You can always rewatch this and check your notes.
I mean, she always wanted to know about her Daigle family, and nobody really knew anything. So I'm happy to have this information.
Yay.
That's good. Yay. Well, thank you very much, Elizabeth, for allowing us to play in your family tree and to dig into this.
I'm not usually speechless, but I am right now. Thank you.
You're welcome. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, we learned a lot too.
Yeah, we did.
It's been great. I've enjoyed the vacation. So.
And Tammy, Mize and I did an interview with Eowyn a few weeks ago about the challenge. So if you want to take a look at that on our podcast, Eowyn gave all the backstory on the challenge, which you already know, but if there's anybody out there listening who's interested,
Cool.
it was an interesting talk with her.
Super. Thank you. Thank you for that. And I think I'd like to thank everyone else who's worked on the challenge. Thank you, Jim, for joining us and sharing what you found out with the family. And Celia, as always, your great help behind the scenes and in front of the scenes and with those brick walls. Was there anything you wanted to mention that I've overlooked, or anything that you wanted to add as a last note to Elizabeth?
No, I think we covered everything. So,
And again, a huge thank you to you, Catherine, for captaining us all through this.
Thank
Great
you.
job. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
There will be a WikiTree challenge in September. The post hasn't gone up yet, and the name is still under wraps. So look on Judy G shortly, and you'll see the posting when you can sign up to take part in the September WikiTree challenge. There is, of course, lots of things going on WikiTree every day, and the regular things are happening, including the Saturday Roundup. On Sunday, one thing that doesn't happen every week is the new member question and answer Q&A on Sunday morning, and Betsy and the gang will be hosting that. And then our monthly Tech Talk Zoom is happening on Monday, this coming Monday night at 6 p.m. Eastern time. So I'll be there with some of my techie friends, and you can come and ask any tech questions you have about WikiTree, the apps, or the browser and extensions, or anything like that. But again, huge thank you to you, Elizabeth, and thank you for joining us again. And everyone, have a great night, everyone.
Thank you to all the volunteers. I really appreciate it.
You're very welcome.
You're welcome.
Good night.
See ya. Have a great night, everyone.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
bye.